Hey, my lovelies, it's me, author Alexandria Infante, coming to you with a new review. So, there was no review on Saturday because Arlie got her book to me too late. And then remember, I said if I feel like coming on Saturdays, then I will do reviews of my housemates. And then on Sunday, we didn't have an actual YA author. We got some like Friday, but Friday was a little bit too late because of the fact that I had other stuff to do, so I wasn't able to actually get any read. And now, this coming week, we are going to drop out of the algorithm again because I'm noticing that the videos aren't really being watched. Like, we're getting like 3 hits for videos or 9 hits as opposed to like 95 for certain authors, 55, 100 and something. So I'm not sure what's going on. So I know that my son had said, the same son that I'm always referring to, he's like a YouTube gamer. So he's basically on YouTube all the time, and he does SoundCloud and all that stuff because he wants to be a rapper too. And so basically, he pretty much knows all of this social media stuff where I don't. And so he said that you needed to. YouTube goes by quality, not quantity, I think, or something like that. He said, the longer videos you have, the more they get shown. The more videos you have, the less they get shown, which is really weird to me. But anyway, that's what he said. So we're going to do the dropout again to see if we can get more viewers to watch your guys' videos. Yes, I am the face of the videos, but these are your books, and so I want to get you as much exposure as possible as I can. So we are going to drop out Monday and Tuesday. Well, actually, I'm sorry, Tuesday and Wednesday. And then we will reappear on Thursday with mainstream. So today I'm going to do a review, and then Tuesday we won't have one, and then Wednesday we won't have one. I'm deciding on Thursday. We might drop out the entire week to see if we can get that algorithm back to where we have like 90 something people watching videos, because the whole point of this channel is to get you readers and to get people to buy your books. So I will either put up our little normal video, or you just won't see anything, because that if I put up the video, then that still puts us in that algorithm. So we may just drop out the entire week and then come back and start on Monday. So if you don't see any videos after today, don't think that we've gone out of business, because we haven't. It's just that we're trying to drop out of this algorithm right now, which is really crappy because it's not showing your guys' videos to anyone. I think the most hits we got this week was maybe 7 on a video. And then I know when we did it the last time, when we dropped out for like those 3 or 4 days, that's when it came back strong, and we had like 100 and something hits for certain videos. Certain authors got like 50 something hits, and so basically we want to get that back for everyone, not just certain authors, but for everyone. So we are going to drop out at least for the rest of the week, which I'm kind of thinking I may do, and just come back on Monday of next week. So anyway, so don't think that we're gone, and we are still doing reviews, and then we will basically get started with reviews on that Monday. And so basically If I come on, then you know that we're going to keep going for the rest of the week. If you see nothing, then that means that we're not. We're going to wait till that Monday to drop out of this algorithm right now. That's really crappy. And then hopefully on Monday, it will throw us into a better one where people will actually come back watching the videos. And then that also gives me and Jen time to promote the channel as well, because like I was saying, I'm an author too, so I'm actually trying to finish this my paranormal series. So basically, I could use that time as well myself. I mean, I'm not trying to be cheesy, but I gotta do my stuff too. Also, I have some freebies on BookFunnel. So if you guys are paranormal if there's some paranormal readers out there who love paranormal, contemporary and historical, just look up Alexandria Infante on BookFunnel, and there's 3 books that are free this month. So basically, that's pretty much it. And let's get on with this review, because I've taken up 6 minutes of her review. I'll finish talking about that, the algorithm and all of that stuff after I've done this review. So tonight's author is author A.M. Gillim. And the book is called Sweet Serenity. Now, this is an interracial romance. It is a contemporary. And here is the, just a sec, and here is the cover. It's by author A.M. Gillim. I think that's how she pronounces her name. It's called Sweet Serenity. Can you guys see it? I hope so. Here, I'll put it up closer because we're already orange. So there's the cover. Right. And it is an interracial romance in a, I'm going to say a secret baby too, because there is a baby. So now, I have my notes. Just 1 second. I probably need to put down the vape too. Anyway, okay, so the main characters for this book, Zephora is the main character, and then Jace is the love interest. Okay, so Zamora is from Texas, and basically she at the point in which the story opens, or the book opens, her mother just got killed in a car accident by a drunk driver. And so basically she decides, like, she has all her friends that are well-wishers. She has her 2 best friends, Rebecca. Darn it, I didn't write the friends' names down. I'm so sorry. Just 1 sec. Let me look it up right quick. I thought I wrote them down. I guess I didn't. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Okay, so the best friends, I believe it's Rebecca and, where's it, Rachel? I forget. Okay, so anyway, so her 2 best friends, they try to comfort her, but it doesn't really. One is Cody. One's name is Cody, and I think the other one's name is Rebecca. Or is it Rachel? Jessica. I'm sorry, I forgot. So, anyway, so I'm just going to say Cody and her friend, okay? Because I know the first one, the little blonde girl, I believe her name is Cody. Okay, so basically, her friends try to comfort her, but it's not really what she's feeling, and she's so heartbroken that her mom died that she just doesn't want to deal with any of it. And so, so basically, she decides to leave Texas. So she starts looking for a, different life, I should say. Sort of like me, I'm about to get ghost out of California because I'm so done, so tired of it, and I'm looking to move upstate this time instead of like city-wise, but close enough to live in the city. I mean, close enough to get to the city when I want to go into New York City, but I'm looking more at like Port Charles or something like that. Port Chester, I mean. And so So basically, she finds a cozy little spot in Virginia. It's a cottage and it's for rent. And so she wants to leave everything behind so she can kind of like veg, because her mom was like really, was like her best friend. The father, the main character, Zephora, is she is mixed. So she's biracial. So her mother is African American and her father is white. They married each other against like the father's parents' wishes, so they sort of like disowned him because he married her. And so she gives you the back history. Excuse me. A little bit later in the book. I'm so sorry. I'm tired, y'all. And so she gives you the back history a little bit later in the book, and then she the difference that the mom, like, they were okay with the family not caring for them, but then when the mom got pregnant, they decided to move somewhere else. I guess they decided to move to I think it's like maybe Corpus Christi or something like that, Texas, further out. And because the dad's family like is like an oil refinery people or whatever, so they're really like seriously rich. And so the son, he pretty much got cut off because he married the mom, and then they moved out to like further into a small town of Texas. And then I guess he couldn't deal with the racism or the way people looked at them or whatever, and so he left the mom. And so the mom pretty much raised her as a single mother. And so the mom gets killed, and so like she just can't deal with life. So she goes and she decides to rent this cottage to veg for a while with this couple. I believe the names were John and Ellen. I know the guy's name was John, but I'm sorry if I'm forgetting the it's like I didn't have my pad close to me, so I was listening to the story. I didn't read it. Because I don't have the time to actually sit and read the books. It's so much easier to put them on voice, and I could do 20 million things while I'm listening to them. And so basically, I believe it's John and Ellen. And so she contacts John. She gets to be able to rent the cottage. She drives out there, and which was it's really weird because she drove, but then she walked down. She was walking down the road because he told her that the house was on the right, and so no, wait. She drove right, yeah, and then so she went to the wrong house. That's the whole point. She went to the wrong house. This guy opens the door, and like she just wraps him as sexy or whatever, and he has on like sweats and no shirt, and he's got like abs for days, and so she's just like, oh wow. And then, I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on. And then so, it's daylight savings, guys. I'm serious. It just threw me completely off. I think I got like maybe 4 hours of sleep last night because I was so thrown off by it. I looked up. I was finishing, working on one of my books. Book 15 in the Teaching Between Midnight and Dawn series. I looked up and it was freaking 1 o'clock in the morning. I was like, oh my god, because basically time went up forward. So I'm so sorry for that. And so anyway, so she goes to the wrong house. She meets Jace, and then she goes on and she meets John. She moves into the cottage. Then John invites her over for dinner, and then she meets Ellen, and then they basically become like friends and stuff. And so she wakes up one morning and she hears like, something like, I guess a saw or, some sort of yard, machine or something like that. And so she goes, I'm so sorry. I may have to do this video over. And so basically she hears this all of this, like yard work type machines, and then so she gets pissed off. She gets up, she goes outside, and she's like, what are you doing? And then he turns around and it's the guy Jace. And so he's basically he's helping to remodel the patio at this cottage. And so they start having a conversation, he's like, oh, you're beautiful, blah, 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 blah. She, because he had already liked her, I guess, when she knocked on his door. And so basically, then the two friends show up because it's like 2 weeks, 3 weeks later. The two friends show up and they pretty much have a girls' night. He leaves. He comes back the next day and he's working on like the patio stuff, and then she goes outside and then they start talking, and then he tells her that he likes her and he wants to take her out, and so she's like, no, I'm not here for that. I'm just here to veg, I have some issues that I need to work out, instead of just telling him that her mom died. She's like, I have some issues to work out, so it's really not a good time for me. I need to take care of me. And so she decides to go out with her friends, and they go like to this club. And so he's at the club. And when she sees him, she hears his voice first, and then she turns around and she's like, whoa. And then he's like talking to like some little blonde girl or whatever. And then she sits on his lap, and so she gets pissed off, and then she's like, let's go. And her friends are like, oh, well, why? We were having such a good time. And then she's like, well, you can stay if you want. I'm going. And she goes and she gets in a taxi. And he basically follows her out because he saw her see him, or saw her, look at him. And he follows her out and he's like calling her name, but she gets in the taxi and she leaves anyway. And so then the next day, she goes I think it was like 2 days later, she goes to the supermarket and she hears some giggling, and she turns around and it's him and the girl again. And so she orders all the stuff that she needs, and then she turns around and then he's behind her and he's like, hi, Zephora, blah, blah, blah. He starts talking to her, whatever. And then she's like, she pretty much is trying to ignore him to get her stuff and then leave. And then so he follows her out of the store. And, she's like, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't be mean to him, blah, 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 blah. So she's talking to him. And he's like, oh, I think we need to have a talk. And then he goes, she's like, fine, you can come over for dinner, blah, blah, blah. And so he comes over for dinner, but they decide to go out. And so they go out. And then they wind up having sex in the back of the limo. And crazy part is that she's a virgin. So that was really weird. But anyway. And so, so they basically decide to have a relationship after that. And so they're going strong. But at like one day, the mom comes over. Like he goes to introduce her to his mom. And the mom is very racist. She's snippy. She's this, she's that. And so basically she knew instantly that she didn't like her. And so he's like, oh, well, if you can't speak respectfully to my girlfriend, then maybe you need to leave. And then so she leaves or whatever. And then so a couple of days pass by again, and then they are basically in a relationship now, or actually a couple of weeks, maybe, or was it 2 months? And then they're in a relationship, so they go over to John and Ellen's for dinner. They have dinner, and then Ellen is like, so basically tells her that she's pregnant, and she's like, no, blah blah blah. And she's like, yeah, you're glowing, da 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 da. She's like, I think you should take a test. And then so she's like, basically, what do I do? She's pretty much at that mode, like, what do I do? Because now I'm afraid, because if I tell him, his mother, they might try to take my baby, all this kind of stuff. And so she was like, no, actually not at that point. At this point, she was just afraid to tell him, because she felt like, was their relationship strong enough to basically deal with a pregnancy? And then was he just hitting it, or did he really want to have like a relationship with her where, like, at some point they have a picket fence and all of that kind of stuff? And so they go home, but she doesn't tell him that she's pregnant. And so then maybe like 2 days later, the mom comes back and they're having a conversation. Basically, she's like, what are you doing here? And then she's like, she wakes up and he's not there. She looks everywhere in the house, outside, thinking that he was doing some maintenance work or whatever. And he's nowhere to be found. And so then when she opens the door, it's the mom. And she sort of like barges herself in. And then they have a conversation. And the mom is like, you're this, you're that, you're dirty, blah, 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 blah. She says all this stuff to her. And like really racist stuff to her. And then she's like, just leave. He doesn't want you. He doesn't need you, blah, 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 blah. He was supposed to be marrying the girl that she saw him giggling with in the supermarket. And so she's like, She says fine or whatever, and so she decides to leave. She leaves. She doesn't leave him a note. She doesn't say anything to him. She just gets on a plane and bounces. And so she tells her friend Cody to come and pick her up. So the friend Cody goes and picks her up, and then she just goes to like living life. And so basically he gets home. He doesn't understand what happened. His mom was supposed to meet him for lunch. She never showed up. And then the girl Ava, I believe her name was, she showed up. And then he's like, no, why are you here? You know, I love da-da-da-da. I love Sephora. And I'm not even sure what you're doing here. My mom was supposed to be here. So anyway, so he leaves. He leaves his cell phone. And so when she called to ask him what the hell was going on, the girl Ava answered his phone. At first it just kept ringing. And then she finally answered it and was like, oh, he's busy. He's in the shower, blah, blah, blah. So she was just basically gaming. And so, so he goes home, and then the mom, is like, oh, you're better for it, blah, 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 because he thinks she just took off, which technically she did. And so, but he doesn't know why. And so now then it pans a year later. And so now the baby's like 5 months old. She's living life as a single mom. She's okay with it. She has a job as a secretary for school. He basically, after she left him, he became a bum and this and this and this. And then, he opened up a business because you find out that he's a billionaire. He has all this money. His dad was like some tech conglomerate or something. And when he died like early, and when he was like 16. And so the dad gave him the company besides 20 shares to the mom. And so when he finally got older, he decided that he didn't want anything to do with the company. So he sold the 80 shares that he had to his mother. And so he was pretty much a billionaire. Which kind of didn't make sense to me anyway. If she only had 20 shares and he had 80, how could she pay him off for those 80? But anyway, and so, so basically, he is a billionaire, and so he decides that he needs some closure to whatever happened between him and her, and so he goes to see Ellen and John, but John isn't home, and basically, Ellen has been keeping in touch with her all of these, for the last year. So she has pictures of the baby. They have a conversation. They talk all the time. Ellen's like, you need to tell him that he has a son. She's like, no, it's not his business, blah, 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 blah. And so she goes, so he goes to see Ellen, and he's like, I need some closure. I need some answers why she did what she did. And so Ellen is pretty much like, I can't really tell you that, because she pretty much swore her to secrecy that she couldn't tell him. Whoops, sorry. And so they're having a beer. He goes in the kitchen to get like a can opener, and he's looking in the pantry, and then he goes to get something, and he knocks like a stack of papers down, and the papers hit the floor, and he picks them up, and he sees a letter, and it's from her, but he doesn't read it because he's like, that's not my business. But then he sees a lone piece of paper on the floor, so he picks it up. It went like way over on the other side, so he picks it up, and then he turns it over, and it says Jackson and me. And basically it's her and a baby. So he gets pissed off because he's thinking, oh my God, she's basically been gone from me for a year, and she already has a baby. And so He's like really pissed off. He goes back in there and he starts talking to Ellen, and Ellen is like, well, you need to see her. And then she gives her address. She gives him her address. So basically he goes to see her. She is surprised when she opens the door. She still doesn't tell him that he has a kid. Basically they have a conversation, and then she tells him that she needs to leave, or if he wants answers, why doesn't he ask his mother? He goes home, he asks his mom tells the truth, and then he's like pissed off, and he goes back, and then she still doesn't tell me he has a kid. And so she's like, yeah, but there is no us, blah, 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 blah. And so he leaves, and as he's going down the stairs, he gets halfway down, and then he remembers Cody's face, the friend, because the friend always takes the baby like to give her a break, like a day or something. And so he sees Cody with the baby, and then he's like, oh, hey. And then she's like, hi. And then he's like, do I know you? And then they start having a conversation, and he looks at the kid's face, and then he's like, wait, whoa. She's like, that's a cute kid. And then they're continuing the talk, and then he looks at the kid again, and then he's like, wait. And then he goes, is that mine? And then basically she's like, you need to speak to Sephora. And so she goes up the stairs. She's like, come on. And so basically they go upstairs. She has to finally tell him the truth. And then she's like, we don't have a relationship, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yes, we do. How can you say that? You have my kid, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, to basically, I can't tell the end because the end is very sweet. But that's why I'm going to stop, because remember, we don't tell the end here. So now, I had several issues with this book. Okay. So, let me get them out. I wrote notes. Okay, so let's begin. Okay. Now, first off, okay, I didn't understand why she was pissed off when he was with the girl Ava. I believe that's her name. Because in the scene on the patio where he asked her to go out with him, she told him no. So to me, she didn't have a right to be pissed off. She didn't have a right to storm out of the club. Any of that stuff, or be angry with him because of the fact that he wanted her first and she said no. She didn't want a relationship. She didn't want to deal with any of that kind of stuff. She was trying to do her and to basically heal herself from where, her mom passed away. So I can understand that. But you can't be pissed off because of the fact that he decided, even though he didn't, because you find out later in the book how those episodes actually happened. But the whole point is that she didn't have a right to be pissed off to me. Secondly, I had an issue with the way the author played up race. That was very annoying to me. I just feel like when you have an interracial relationship, there are so much other things that you can use as an antagonist or protagonist, as an arc for drama than race. Because the whole point is it's interracial. You're trying to show that it's beautiful. We already know that there are prejudiced people out there. It's like, unless it's a me personally, unless it's a historical romance that's interracial, I don't need to see that, or I don't want to read that, because I'm reading the book because I'm trying to escape that. And I want to see a world that accepts interracial relationships, multicultural relationships, just like I do. So I kind of feel like when authors use that as a arc for the book, me personally, I just kind of feel like it's a sellout. There's so many other things you could use to cause drama in your book that I just feel like race doesn't need to be one of them. Because like in Nikki Jackson's book, Billionaire's Lost Child, okay, the mama was skeezy too. Because the whole point in this book here, Sweet Serenity, the mom is a jerk. The mom is racist. The mom is this and this and that, right? She is the one who causes her to leave. And she decides to leave him without basically speaking to him. I didn't even understand that part either. She didn't even give him the benefit of the doubt of saying, okay, well, you know what? F my mom or screw my mom. She didn't give him that benefit. She just left. But like in Nikki Jackson's book, the mom is skeezy too. But the mom was an elitist. There's a difference. The mom wasn't racist. There was that tension. Because Claire wound up leaving. Claire took that money and she bailed because she didn't want to deal with this evil bee. Right? But Nikki Jackson didn't use race. She used the fact that the mom was an elitist. Her whole thing was, you are not good enough for my son because you're poor. Two, you're just a photographer. Basically, she used an elitist attitude, not a racist. So this book, basically, she talks about the fact that the parents had a very racially charged relationship, and then the dad couldn't deal, so he bailed. And then she talks about the mom being racist, so she left because she couldn't deal. But the thing is that the difference between the two relationships is she didn't give him a chance to say boo about it, because I mean, when his mom did it the first time, he put her in check and was like, I'm not sure what's wrong with you, but don't be talking to my girlfriend like that. So who's to say that he wouldn't have done it a second time? But she didn't give him a chance for that. So I didn't understand that part either. I just kind of felt that was I kind of felt like it was to play up. It was to make the antagonistic point there, but I just feel like the author didn't need to use race like that. She could have just made her be an elitist too, because we already know that there's racial problems in the book because of the fact that you have the parents. Well, I just feel like their relationship could have been, the mom was just an elitist B because she was poor. And she was actually poorer than Nikki's character Claire was, because Claire was a freaking photojournalist for supermodels and fashion houses. So she had money. She just didn't have money like the main male character did. He had like money out the butt, but she didn't have money like that. But the mom still saw her as beneath them. So I kind of feel like she could have done that as well, instead of using race as the forward, to project the story forward. That's just my opinion. And then I thought the limo scene was crazy because, one, she was a V. And to just pretty much give it up like that in the back of a limo. I mean, yeah. I don't know. It was just weird for me. That whole scene was weird for me. Because that would be more like Arlie style. And the character wouldn't have been a V. I think that just threw me off right there, that she would have done that, being a V and just getting down like that in the back of the limo and not caring about that whole portion. I mean, yeah, kids have done it like for forever in the back of their parents' car, but they weren't kids. They were like full on adults. So, she was 28 and a V, so I kind of thought that was like weird too. But and then let's see what else. And then the whole baby thing. I don't understand that. I continue to read these authors who have these secret babies. And now I love secret baby books. I really do. Like I said, I love Arlie's, and I can't brag about my own, but I have some secret baby books too. And because I love them, the drama of when he finds out that he's a daddy. But the problem that I'm having with these secret baby books is there is no drama. There is no drama. That's not... It's like, I know we're supposed to suspend... Okay, you're supposed to suspend disbelief. Suspend belief. Because this is a fantasy world. This is a fiction book. And I understand that. But it's just the way that it's coming off when we're basically getting these books with the secret babies. And these men being okay with that. Being like, okay, yeah, that's fine. You did what you had to do. Blah, 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 blah. Especially not billionaire men. There would have been some drama. Like she even says in this book, she didn't want him to take her kid, which is why she didn't tell him. Because of the fact that he is a billionaire. That is realistic. That's true. That would have been one thing that as a mom, a single mom and a poor single mom, she would have been worried about. So I like that part. But the fact that he comes in, he realizes that it's his baby. They have a conversation and there's no drama. I'm not getting that. I will constantly refer to Cyprian in Arlie's book. Cyprian was like, F this. He was going off. And as I'm thinking about it, it's like every freaking one of Arlie's books where she has a secret baby. Oh, What was the other one? Oh, okay. That's the way she likes it. He went back to Sweden. He went all the way back to Sweden. She never told him. She worked at a Christian college, Baruch University. So she just knew she was going to be out because she was pregnant. She was a professor. She headed up the children's studies. I'm talking about Arlee's book right now. She headed up the international children's studies. Here she is pregnant at a basically Christian university. She can't, it's like, it's the biggest taboo ever. But she does not tell him. He comes back from Sweden to do a professorship, like an intern professorship. She's at a restaurant. He's with his new girlfriend. She basically says, he sees her. She scoots up under the table, her entire stomach, pulls the table up to her. So the tablecloth is hiding all of this. And she's talking to them. He leaves, she breaks down, she starts bawling, then she leaves. Right? He finally finds out that one of the professors says congratulations to him. And he's like, what? And then he's like, congratulations on your soon-to-be born kid. He goes to her house. He goes looking for the best friend, Keisha. He goes to her house. And he's like, what the hell? And basically, she has to tell him. She's got like, I don't know how many secret baby romances, because she obviously likes them. And in every one, the man is going off. He's going crazy out of his mind. Like, how could you do this to me? How could you blah, 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 blah? And so I don't understand. I really don't understand. I said I was going to go and like download some authors other than Arlee, because I want to see this. I want to look to see. That doesn't make any, I really don't understand that. You know, it's like, I'll just put a little something out there. My husband and I got a divorce. I was pregnant with my last daughter. I decided that wasn't his business, because I was tired of him. He was blah, 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 blah. I won't put all that out there. But anyway, when he found out, I was like, are you effing kidding me? Seriously? Seriously? So that's why I'm like, any man who loved that woman, even if she did leave him, he is going to go off regardless. And so I just feel like the author's got to come more correct with that. I don't know. It's really bugging me, because it's too simple. You know, he didn't give, in this book, Sweet Serenity, he didn't give he barely balked against anything. He was just like, okay, you know. And even in Nikki's book, he was like, well, you had to do what you had to do. No! She took your kid for 3 years. I don't know I don't know. At least the guys I know. The guys that I know in real life would have been like, she lost her mind. She lost her ever-loving mind if she thinks that this is okay. So I'm just saying. So anyway, that's where I'm going to stop this review, because I did have issues with that. So if I had to star this book, also there were a lot of typos in there. Typos that were like glaringly strong, where you couldn't overlook them. So if I had to say anything to this author, I would say go back to the drawing board. Not so much the story, because the story, if it comes together, if you fix those little kinks in it, you'll have a good book. I mean, it is a good book. I just feel like a lot of the technical issues and some of the plot didn't make sense, that it needs to be clarified. And then, of course, the typos, there were way too many typos. If you put your computer on, Microsoft Word has this little thingy at the top of the toolbar at the top, and it says speak aloud. If you click that, it will read your manuscript back to you. Because here's the thing, a lot of times the eye will correct the word for you. If it looks anything like it's supposed to look, the eye will correct the word for you, and you will go on over it. Because your brain automatically does that. If you see EY and it's supposed to be I, your brain will read it as I. Whereas if you are listening to it, it's going to say E, and you're like, what the hell? So I would suggest that. And that will basically catch all of the typos. I would also say basically fix that plot, because I would love to see more anger from him, like him just being pissed off because the baby might be 5 months old, but she left him a year ago without telling him that she was pregnant with his child. And then I think the race element should be taken out. Like, you can make her grungy for any other reason, but I just feel like if you started it with the mom and the dad's racial tension, that's fine. You can leave that there, because that would be one of the reasons why she has abandonment issues, why she doesn't feel as comfortable and self-confident as she should. But to bring it back again with the mom, I kind of feel like you should take that out and just make her like really skeezy, She thinks she's better than, she already had that superior attitude. She thinks she's better than everyone else. She thinks that because she has money, the entire world is beneath her. There's so many other ways you can make that the mother dirty without having to throw race in there again, because you don't need race as a catalyst to move your book forward. Unless you just intentionally did that and that's the way you want it. But, I just feel like, if you want other readers, not saying that like I said, like the parents, that's fine. You can leave that in there, because it basically goes to her character and, describes her of the person that she is. But the mom, I think you can make her dirty for so many other reasons. So if I had to star this book, I would give this book a 3 stars, because the story is there. It just needs to be pulled out. It needs to be refined more fine-tuned and refined more, and fix the holes in the plot, fix the typos, fix all of that stuff. And this book could easily get you a 4 or 4.5 stars. So if I were going to star it, like I said, I would star it 3 stars, and basically, fix all of that stuff. And then you can totally send it back into us if you would like a higher review. And this time Erica can read it. And basically that will give you a different perspective and a different viewpoint. And so that's pretty much it. I will, like I said, this week we are going to bow out at least for a couple of days. So you won't see us tomorrow or Wednesday, depending on how it's if any of the other videos get hits and likes and views, then we may go ahead and finish out the rest of the week. But if not, if we don't get any more likes and hits on those videos, then what we're going to do is we're going to bow out for the entire week. And then we're going to come back on Monday. So make sure you guys come back. Check out the videos. Watch those videos of your fellow authors, because that is what helps the channel continue to rotate and go out to other people. The more videos you like, the more videos you watch, it throws it out there for other people to see. And then they're just like, oh, hey, wow, this is a video of so-and-so and so. So basically do that. And then if you know anyone who would like to submit to the channel, please send them this way. And also, if you have a reader list of your own and you are an author and you have a reader list of your own, throw us in there. When you send out your newsletter, put this link on there and tell them all about us. And so they can come over here and watch these indie reviews as well. And that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this. And we will see you soon. Peace and love.